So the new Infantry combat overhaul was made available by the developers over the weekend. And here's what they said about the recoil. Added recoil misalignment. Recoil now causes the weapon to rotate in more axes and can be thought of as an additional dimension of recoil. Sway. Sway has been reworked from the ground up, increases the initial target acquisition time, particularly when running and gunning, but fades out quickly enough so you can quickly post up and make accurate long-range shots. And here's how it works in-game. Oh, I think that was the wrong clip. So let's check out the Infantry combat overhaul. The developers made it available over the weekend, and let's take a look. So the first thing you'll notice as you're playing it is that as you move your mouse around, there's a certain degree of weapon-free aim. Okay, the developer said that the gun will shoot exactly where the barrel is pointing at. So this replaces the classic 80 hipfire shooting. So instead of the camera being attached to the gun like this, you can now just aim in a certain place, shoot, like so. I think this is a great system. However, there's one issue with it. The free aim sensitivity of the gun is also the same sensitivity as your mouse free look. And I play with really high mouse sensitivity, so I can turn around really quick like that. The problem with that is if you have a high mouse sense, then your gun feels really weightless because you can flop it around this quick. Oh, other than that, I think it makes the gun feel more physical in your hand. But the next thing you'll notice is that there's a certain higher plasticity to the weapons, especially if the weapon has a pronounced rear and front sight like this one. And this ties into the next system. Okay, now pay attention to the bottom of the screen. You see where my compass is. You see those two dots that appear to wobble around. Okay, that's your aiming accuracy. And now the new system affects the way your weapon handles and the way it shoots in several new ways. Okay, so let's say I'm moving like this. Notice here the aim con goes further apart. Now I'm stopping. Notice now it takes some time for the aim accuracy to go down again. Okay, now as I'm aiming with the sight like this, notice here I'm aiming. As the sight first aligns, it doesn't immediately snap to a perfect sight picture. It wobbles around a bit. As I'm doing this, notice the dots. There's like a hump. Notice that. As the shoulder connects to the stock of the weapon. You see here? There's some sight misalignment. And it's not just up and down, it's also on the other axes, which means as moving the gun around, see here? You have this sight misalignment in various, on all the axes. Okay? And this is more pronounced depending on your stance and your stamina. Okay, so let's say as I'm moving. Now I'm sprinting a bit. When I'm stopping and trying to aim, notice what happens. I see there's some severe sight misalignment going on. So I'm shooting. Now notice at 50 meters, you can still hit something like this. Okay, it's not that hard. Now the difference is at 100 meters, 200 meters, you're going to run into problems with accuracy. And I think the purpose of the system is to give a more prepared shooter who is calmer and slower and already prepared in his shooting position to have an advantage over somebody who just turned a corner after he just sprinted 100 meters. I think it's a good system because it rewards being slower and more tactical. And I think that's one of the goals of the overhaul is to make the whole gameplay slower than it is right now. Okay, now let's look. Now, as we try to stabilize the gun from a standing position, notice here, as you go down crouched, it actually goes faster. I think the ADS itself is faster. Also, the stabilization phase after it is faster. And the amplitude of the inaccuracy bump is low. Okay, now I'm going prone. And with prone, it goes the fastest. And the lowest amount of misalignment. Now, as before, you can stabilize your gun by holding shift. However, it's not instant as it used to be. Like when you press shift, then it would just glue itself to a perfect sight picture for a small amount of time. It actually takes some time to get to that point. And I think it also is, the amount of time it takes depends on what you were doing before you started to aim. Like if you're sprinting, you're out of stamina, and And then you stabilize. It's going to take some time to actually get to the stabilization point. Okay, let's lose some stamina. Aim and stabilize. Notice it stabilizes much faster than without pressing shift. However, it's not happening in an instant. And also, the destabilization after letting go of shift is slower. Notice here. Holding it. It takes 1 to 3 seconds to get full accuracy, and then let go. I think it's a good system because let's say you want to hit somebody at 250 meters and only his helmet is peeking out, and you're like really aiming really hard to hit the guy. So you hold shift, you wait, and you fire the one shot. Now, if the other shooter was doing the same at you, but he's has less patience, and he shoots after 1 second of holding shift, he might miss you at the same distance, but you might not miss because you took that extra time to aim. And I think it's a really good organic system too. And on a weapon like this, it's actually quite nice because you have the long, what's the name for that? The sight radius. Because you have a really long sight radius on the M4, is that you can really feel it without actually having to look down at the compass. You can really feel the sight misalignment as a gun is like that. Yeah, also, there's some interesting thing if you use a red dot scope. Let me see if I find that red dot. I wonder if there's different ones than just the 608. Okay, let's try this one. That's a red dot non-magnified, okay? But the cool thing is this game simulates the advantage a red dot has in certain situations over iron sights. Because the point of a red dot, I think, at least for using them on rifles, is to give you a quick indication of where bullets are going to go. Okay, so you aim, and you only have to focus on the red dot in the distance. You understand? You focus on the red dot. You don't have to focus to really wait for the side picture to form. And that gives you the advantage of the red dot compared to iron sights. Okay, now the next big thing, which I think is a really big thing visually, is the way scopes work, magnified scopes. Okay, now this is an ACOG. I think it's, what's the magnification? 3 something or 4. Okay, notice here. You'll notice 2 things. It has the scope shadow. I think that was in the previous version of the game, I'm not sure. And you have the same misalignment that I showed you on the iron sights, okay? However, it's more pronounced for 2 reasons. I think the developers actually made it take more time to aim the weapon because it's magnified. Because in real life, I think it would take you some time for your eyes to adjust to the different magnification level. So it takes more time to aim with a magnified scope than aiming with a red dot or iron sights. Okay, notice here, as it slowly blurs out, it slowly moves the blur. I think it's a really nice thing. Notice here, the blur slowly goes away, and it's just perfectly timed. And then you got, of course, the wobble, and the wobble itself is amplified because if the scope is magnified, any misalignment is magnified by the magnification itself. Okay, so now this leads to actually there's a real trade-off between ACOG scopes and red dots or iron sights. So let's say I want to aim at the target, it takes some time. Bang. Now see, if I want to shoot at the guy with iron sights, I would probably be able to get a faster sight picture and probably hit the guy at that distance somewhere. But if you want to really do precise shooting at 200-300 meters, then you get the advantage of magnification, but it takes more time to get your gun in sight. And this system is obviously more magnified if you use high-powered scopes. And as the last part of the video, I'd like to show you the new suppression effects. Now, the suppression visuals are impressive, and what they do is they hinder you as a player from accurately shooting back at the enemy by blurring your screen in various ways and by misaligning your sight picture. However, what is the more important effect, which you can see in the background clip, is that how it changes the behavior of players who are getting shot at. So in this clip, you can see me trying to shoot back at the enemies, and I can only infer the position by the tracers and impacts coming in my direction. And neither side is actually able to hit anything. Each side is just shooting at the probability cloud of where the enemy might be. And it has I think, the desired effect of realistically creating suppression, where players are scared of bullet impacts nearby and are hindered to accurately react to it. And at the same time, players are encouraged to actually provide suppressive fire in a certain direction. Even if they don't know if they hit something, they just know if I shoot in the general direction of the enemy, it probably will decrease their ability to shoot back.